This conference will now be recorded.
We'll have to ask who's up there besides Brad.
Okay,
Or that Brad, see who that is.
I don't know. I got 6 o'clock. We'll call the meeting to order. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Just one quick note, the Brad that's viewing, just can you please state your name?
Yes, this is Brad.
Brad, can you state your last name too, please?
Yes, this is Brad Robb.
Oh. Sounds good. Thanks, Brad. I believe we have no amendments to the agenda, so just need approval to adopt the agenda.
Second.
Any further discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 5-0-0. Accounts payable, Fred.
Yeah, no, I just went down them a little bit and did a couple highlighted there. There's for Shane Electric, this city hall lighting and campground. It's pretty self-explanatory, but majority of that's for the new services out at the park there. And then I had more questions probably on this. Anyway, the Motorola Solutions body cams, I had Pat come over and explain that all to me, and that was that. It's a yearly, what do you call it? Subscription to that. That covers the four body cams and the 4 cameras in the cars, right? And so that's what that is there, and that's about all I had.
You just want to make the motion on the grand total and then
Okay.
second and then.
I'll make a motion to pay the accounts payable of $306,237.61.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 5-0-0. Thanks, Fred. We'll open the public comment portion. Individuals may address the city council about any item of concern. Speakers must state their name and limit their remarks to 5 minutes. Any public comment portion?
If you just want to come up here and speak, that way people online can hear you too.
Do you want my street address, or if I say I'm with the Zumbrota Township Board of Supervisors, that's good enough?
That's good enough.
So I'm Clinton Stair. I just wanted to ask the council for comment or if I am missing anything. 2023, State of Minnesota awarded City of Zumbrota and every other city, county, and township in the state money. City of Zumbrota got $165,458. So it's designated as public safety aid for personnel and equipment costs for fire, rescue, and emergency services. Another one of our supervisors says it's been brought up at the fire board meeting numerous times. Response from the city is, we haven't decided what we're doing with it yet. Is there a reason that has not happened? It's supposed to be a pass-through thing. It's not city money. It's money for emergency, first responders, et cetera. What's going on with that?
I'll go with it, and then you kind of run with whatever I'm corrected.
Okay.
So the city of Zumbrota got the $165,000 for public safety. What's the population that, if you're under what?
I don't know.
10,000 or under. So
Yeah,
we, as a township, got zero.
So Goodhue County got all the townships. So then your money as townships went to Goodhue County.
Right.
So, but our money was allotted for the city of Zumbrota.
But is that not for your budgeted expenses with fire, ambulance, et cetera?
Then you're getting, because we have joint powers on all those. So then our city residents are already paying property taxes. And they already pay for services for ambulance and they pay for services for fire.
Correct.
So there's some things associated with that, why where it gets kind of sticky when the money went to Goodhue County for the townships. Goodhue County has decided how they want to spend it. We have not, as a city, decided how we want to spend that yet. And the reason we haven't, because there's no timeline. We had ARPA dollars, we had a timeline that we had to spend that money, and we were doing that in November and December to figure out how we wanted to do that. I do know, or correct me if I'm wrong, that we were going to plan on discussing a little bit more detail of this public safety money at a work session in March.
Correct.
That's on the agenda, just to kind of get council deciding what do we want to do with that.
I didn't know if council even knew that the money was there, if you talked about it at all.
Yeah, we've all talked about it. Townships have talked about it. I'm on part of the fire board. I think it's Loman that brought it up, and I said, we haven't decided what we're going to do with it yet because of how the state divvied that money. It kind of gets sticky because that money was for the city of Zumbrota residents. The township residents was lump sum inside of the Goodhue County's public safety. So we've seen, I don't know if council has seen it, we have broken it down to percentages and per capitas that I think our accountant had broken that up too. So we've seen some of that. It's going to get sticky because our residents pay property taxes and we have joint powers for
From property taxes.
But our property taxes help pay for the joint powers or a fire, joint powers or ambulance. So
What, you got ambulance, you got fire, you got police all asking and saying they need money for equipment. I'm not here to say it needs to go anywhere. I'm just saying it needs to get spent where it was supposed to go.
there's guidelines, we have to spend it. So I mean, we know all that. We've talked about some of that. It's just, we have no deadline on that. So it's just, we're just finishing up the year budget, stuff like that. So I know it's been addressed that we are going to talk about that and bring council up. I know Fred maybe has not been part of it, but I think the rest of the council has been part of that and know where we're at, the dollar amount. There just hasn't been a decision.
Having annual meetings and it's the same at every meeting. You know, we need radios, we need this, we need that. And it's just, it's frustrating knowing there's dollars there. That's.
The city of Zumbrota gets the same thing. Our employees want raises and we got, I mean, our health insurance and our insurance is, I mean, it's a constant battle in everything you do.
Yeah.
So.
I didn't know if it had been, the whole council had been brought up to speed. I just.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I mean, I think Fred's probably the only one that doesn't, maybe he knows a little bit about, but I know the rest of us, we've discussed it last year and we know where we're at on that.
And I guess in my view, you say it's, yes, there's joint powers, but it is still 3 hometown organizations. It's not, you're not giving it to Mazeppa Fire, Goodhue Fire. And it's still gonna benefit Zumbrota the most.
But if you look at it, it could affect our taxpayers differently depending on how we divvy it. So that's what's gonna be
It's an extra thing, because then that doesn't affect your budget.
could affect our budget if we use it for our police department and
Okay, answer me this, because I looked and I didn't understand. Can that be considered your budgetary dollars, or is this extra?
we can use it for a budget part if we want
We can
to.
offset things with it, and that's the whole discussion is,
Because that's the part
Do
that
we-
I didn't see that was clear.
yeah,
And if you guys are allowed to use it as your budget, well, then that's what you're gonna do.
nobody has ever said that there's not gonna be any money going to, ambulance and fire. We have a police department in town here to pay for. And Todd's right in the fact that how this was structured, it was per capita. So basically, in simplistic terms, it's a return on taxpayer dollars per capita, right? Per capita in the townships went to the county. Per capita in the city went to the city. So these are city tax dollars. Our city tax dollars are paying for the bulk of the fire department. Our city taxpayers are paying for the bulk of the ambulance along with Pine Island, the big cities, which is the way it should be. I mean, that's the way it is, it's per capita. So the philosophical debate there is, do we say, okay, taxpayers, you have to pay the bulk because we're bigger per capita. And then we're going to take this safety money that came back, your dollars, city taxpayer dollars, per capita, and we're going to give equal shares to each one as well. Maybe, we haven't, there was a thought that maybe we break it up on percentage of budget. Police department is whatever percentage of our budget. Fire department is another percentage, ambulance is another percentage. Break it up that way, So there's thoughts, and we just haven't sat down to hash all that out. Just like Todd said, there's a lot of things with budget going on. We got through the budget, we got through some other things. There was ARPA dollars there too.
That we ran into a deadline. That would.
So there's all kinds of decisions to be made, and we want to make this one carefully because it's very passionate. Everybody, we talk to the fire board when we're at those meetings every time, and we talk about this. And yes, we're gonna discuss it. And
I was doing research and I found out the dollars that the county got, so I will be in contact with the county to see where that went.
And that's what we keep saying too, and you do benefit some for that. I think they spent theirs on policing, so you get police coverage. And theoretically something I think they did body cams. Did they not, Pat, with that safety money? Or was that whatever money they used? But so that does benefit the townships as well. So there's a benefit there from the county side. But yeah, we haven't acted on it yet. We're going to.
And the
start
fire
some more
chief-
discussion.
The fire chief was in here several meetings ago and requested his third, which that you expect that because, yeah. But I mean, so we already know that. We've already been aware of it. It's just, it hasn't been discussed because there's no timeline.
And, we know the budget very well for the fire because both Todd and I are on that board, and we know they spent their budget money, their turnout gear budget money on equipment that was needed, truck, so they needed turnout gear money. Well, that's very important. That's protection for those firefighters. So yeah, that's part of our discussion as well. But it's all going to happen. We're going to have those discussions. It just hasn't happened yet.
Everything happens at the speed of government.
Yeah.
I understand your concern of we've got dollars there and you want to spend them. I'm on the fire department as well. And I know we've got trucks and we've got gear and we've got other things that are coming up. And it's not necessarily things that we want, but it's things that are NFPA standards in terms of we have to spend money on. And if there's dollars there, we want to use them as soon as possible. So I get your concern.
That's where we know there's a need, sooner the better. And that's where I say if it's considered above and beyond budget, but you're kind of saying that you might use, and it's a city dollars. I guess I thought it is extra.
Well, we did use some of it. Just occurred to me, we did use some of it because we had a police officer leaving. I took a job elsewhere. And if we're caught with a training period after a police officer leaves, then we're more short. So we did use some dollars to hire as soon as possible before the other officer left. So we were paying another officer during the training period, and we used safety dollars for that. But that's what it's for. It's for recruitment, retention, things like that.
And I had heard about that, and that makes sense because it's above your budget. So that, yeah, it's more of the frustration that the city seems to just want to hold it. And that's where the frustration's coming
It'll
from.
go well. There's no shortage of
Yeah.
places to put it. And, yeah, it'd be above and beyond. I'm almost certain whatever it is, it'll be, some of that equipment type stuff or, but how it's divvied out is the debate and the discussion that needs to be had.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Any more public comments? We'll close the public comment portion and we'll jump to consent agenda. All items listed in the consent agenda are considered routine by the council and were approved by one motion. The only thing we have to approve is the minutes from February 6th meeting.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Any further discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 5-0-0. We'll jump down to 7A, unfinished business, 5th Street West Avenue crosswalk study update. Brian.
Yes, like I had said in my memo there, we are still studying all kinds of different options there. Taking a little longer because we need to put together some pricing for different options. You know, we understand the concern for that intersection. And so we're gonna bring back any and every option, whether it be painting the crosswalk, regular crosswalk signs, bump outs, rapid flashing beacon option with costs, you know, all of that stuff. It's just taking a little bit longer. I couldn't get it together in the 2 weeks I had to put it together. So just an update that we're still working on it. I let the gentleman know that was here to speak to the council about it. I let him know where we're at with it, and he's good with that. So we'll just plan on bringing something back to the March 6th meeting with some options. It's just so council can decide where we want to be with it.
Perfect. Any questions on that? Let's jump down to a new business, 8A, Southeast Minnesota Multi-County Housing. Semcra, Pat, take it away.
All right, well, good evening, everybody. I'm Patrick Mishner. I work for Semcra. We've been working on the Deeds Small Cities Development Program over the last year and a half or so. It was announced last fall, early winter, that the city of Zumbrota was awarded just shy of $600,000 for owner-occupied rehab within the city limits of Zumbrota. Since then, I've been working on environmental review with Brian, working through that. That's been officially posted. Public comment period is over on that, and we're waiting on Deeds feedback on that. That should end March 1st. I'm here today to pass a small litany of policies, procedures, and plans. The plan here, I'm going to touch on all 16 of these as quickly as I can. I'll try to pause for any questions at any time. Feel free to interject as well. The only thing, there's a couple dates on here that say February 19th. They should be February 20th. They will be corrected on the final versions. All right, we'll get into this. First, grant contract. This contract is between the city of Zumbrota and the Department of Employment and Economic Development, DEED. It lays out all requirements. Page 3 has exact award amounts. You'll see there at the top of the table, number of units, award amounts, other funds, use of funds, and a litany of other specific requirements. I'm gonna lump that into the second one, which is the administration contract, which states we are responsible for whatever's in that grant contract to administer. So we will be doing everything in there. Ultimately, I believe point 3 there states that. Do you have any questions on that? So we'll be doing pretty much everything top to bottom for this program. Number 7 on the administration contract is regarding financial reporting and controlling, keeping. We are responsible for all of that. We report that to DEED every year on your behalf. There will be small questions and small things you'll have to report as well. But we lead that charge. There's no kind of ongoing reporting for that. So any questions on this?
The only thing I had is, so basically you're taking care of all the paperwork. The city doesn't get really involved with any of that.
Correct.
That's all on you. Okay.
So if you get complaints about it or questions on it, come talk to me. I'd be happy to talk further on it. The resolution there is acknowledging that contract, that administration contract at least, so the 2A. Point 3, excessive force. We've had conversations on this policy. This is often the most questioned policy that we have. It's in addition to the use of force policy that the City of Zumbrota Police Department has. That policy is much more in-depth than this 2-paragraph policy. These are required through Housing and Urban Development, Community Development Block Grant funds, which these are ultimately channeling down from. This is just covering ourselves and making sure we have all the right language in place for any audits. Any questions on that? Okay. Anti-displacement. This policy pretty much states if any unit of low to moderate income housing is changed in terms of use or demolished, it must be replaced within 3 years. This has never come up in my experience. However, it needs to be in place again from HUD, Community Development Block Grant Funds. Questions? Okay. Authorization release of funds. This means that my accountant or my executive director can go directly to deed to release the funds. We don't have to middleman the city of Zumbrota to release those funds. It's just easier, more streamlined, less work for you all, easier for us as well. We'll do all draw requests directly to deed. Drug-free workplace, kind of in the name there. City of Zumbrota is a drug-free workplace. State some steps to take if that is violated by a staff member. But pretty self-explanatory. Any questions on that? Fair housing plan. There's a small list of what fair housing is, what fair housing isn't. And then in there are a number of activities that we have to take on annually. We have to report that fair housing activity to deed every year. And again, we are responsible for doing that annually. We'll post flyers at City Hall. We'll put things on city websites, distribute different pamphlets, that sort of thing. Program income, this gets a little in the weeds, but there's program income and local income. So funding for these projects is structured as a 7-year deferred forgivable loan. After 7 years that you own that property, that dollar amount is forgiven. If you were to sell that property prior to that 7-year, the loan is repaid back into a revolving loan fund. That revolving loan fund must be used for the same activity, again, owner-occupied rehab in the city of Zumbrota. If we receive more than $35,000 of that revenue, it's considered program income. We must report that to the state. If it's less than $35,000 per year, local income, we don't have to report that to the state. The state will track that for eternity until you use it. Questions on that? Again, we're tracking all that for reporting requirements. Section 3 plan, a Section 3 business is any business owned by low income individuals. We must recruit a low income Section 3, or we must attempt to recruit Section 3 businesses. Every single contractor we work with has to fill out a Section 3 business sheet saying if they are or are not a Section 3 business. Questions? Okay. Rehabilitation standards. It's just 5-6 pages of what the minimum requirement of a home that we rehab on must meet. If we cannot get the home to meet that standard through a $25,000 project, we cannot do that project. So we have a former contractor on staff. He will go out, inspect every single home that we are doing a project on, make sure that we are meeting those standards. They're fairly basic, but they're kind of a melding of different building standards from across the state. Any questions on those? Okay. Policies and procedures. This is pretty much exactly everything we have to do the program. Conflicts of interests, residencies. There's a long list. Construction requirements, marketing and application. I will note our marketing, depending on need to get more applications, is typically just a postcard that we send to every owner-occupied house in the city of Zumbrota. We get that information from Goodhue County, GIS. If we need to, we will ramp that up into online advertising, posters, door hangers, whatever we need to do. And we are first come, first serve. So the first people to get in the door will be the first prioritized project with those funds. Mentions inspections, approvals, contracts. I will note contracts are between the homeowner and the contractor. We are an agent there. We do not have any contracts with any contractors or homeowners. And then the kind of final point is the whole list of processes. If you guys want more information on the whole process, I'm happy to share, but it's all listed out there for you to read if you wish. Any questions on our policies and procedures? Walkaway policy states for any of the listed reasons that we can walk away from a project if it's not a safe environment to be working in, if the contractor feels like it's a liability to them, if we can't get a contractor to do the job, If the value of the home is less than the value of the project, we can walk away at that time. Not typically invoked, but is there just in case. Next page is contact information for all of us for your record. Next page is a list of you all and city staff. And on the back of that is a timeline. Pretty much, we will hopefully get the release of funds come March. A little more detail in here. We have a number of these other programs open in other small cities across our service area. We're looking kind of later spring to start beginning marketing here. March 30th is the deadline for those other programs that are going to be closing in September. We'll have a small lag time, and then we'll start marketing in Zumbrota. We're also bringing a program on in Manorville, so we're hoping to do those two simultaneously. You two guys simultaneously there for marketing. Start taking applications come summertime. Hopefully, projects start fall time. So these projects do take, on the good day, 4 months, on a bad day, 9 months to get from start to completion, depending on lead-based paint, radon, year of construction type of work. And then this will hopefully close September of 2027. And then the last one is called post-grant administration contract. So starting at the close of our current, or the first administration contract, this one is invoked. With the 7-year terms on those loans, after that grant contract closes, there may be repayments on that. We are then responsible for administrating any sort of repayments and tracking financially of those. And if we were to revolve funds back, again, we are responsible for that. Okay, I think that's all I have. Do we have questions on any of that?
Question I had, I'm sorry, I should have asked earlier. You have a number 9, you have a section 3 plan.
Yes.
What is that?
The section 3 plan, so that's us trying to recruit low-income businesses. So a section 3 business.
What is a section 3 business then? What does a low income business mean, or what is that standard?
It's 51%. I think it's in the 51% of the ownership has to be low or very low income. And then, where is it? Or 75% of the individuals working there have to be low or very low income, or 51% of the business has to be owned by an individual on Section 8 voucher program or in public housing.
So you have a list of these people, or can they be local? But then you're going to be digging into what their income is or what their tax statements say and things.
So what we do when we're working with the contractor is we have a Section 3 business identification. So they can either identify as a Section 3 business or not. And we have to try to recruit Section 3 businesses to participate in our program.
So that you're going to recruit them to use them.
We don't have a minimum requirement of use, but we have at least an attempt to recruit.
For Patrick. You understand all that? No, we've been working on it. It's been over a year, hasn't it? Year and a half?
A year and a half. This is about a 2-year writing process and a 3-year administration process. So.
Two really good things about it is we're going to have some rehab money in town.
What is it, about 640,000?
If you go to the 697,713 from deed, we have match dollars from the county, and then you guys provided, I believe, 10,000 in levy for that.
So, I mean, I think it's great for the community. What are some other small towns just that are in the area that got, you said Manorville, right?
Yeah, so we're bringing Manorville on. We've Cannon Falls, Mazeppa, Pine Island. We're down in Wabasha, Goodview, St. Charles. If it's a small town in Winona, Wabasha, Goodhue, or Dodge County, we're probably in West Concord, Claremont even. So.
And we did have this program many years ago.
2012, I believe.
2012 was through here before, but yeah, so rehab dollars coming into town and he's doing all the work.
Perfect.
We are happy to do it.
Yes, Fred.
You maybe covered this, but this was put out like a year ago and people applied for it then. So Because I know I got a sheet in the mail that said, well, would you be interested and what would you be interested in, had to get a price.
Correct.
So this money hasn't been allocated to anybody yet.
So as part of the grant writing process is we have to survey the whole town or survey all owner occupied homes in the town. And so that sheet that you received was that.
Just to get an idea what.
There was a certain threshold that had to be met in order to receive these funds.
Correct. So the more people interested in income qualified, the more competitive our grant was. We got our full ask. So it was competitive.
Perfect. Any more questions for Pat? So we're gonna do a roll call, and we're gonna just put all these in one kind of consent agenda instead of going through the 9, 10 of them that are on there. So I just need a motion, a second, and then we'll do a roll call.
I'll make that motion.
Any further discussions?
A little bit just, because I'm going to plan on voting no here, and I just want for the record, to understand why my process is that. These are publicly gathered federal funds that are now being allocated to personal, private individuals through the rehabilitation aspect. And it's a principle of mine that public monies get spent on public purposes, and this is a private purpose as its reception. So in that vein, I'm planning to vote no on this, for the record.
We got a motion and a second. Bob?
Aye.
Joan? Aye. Kevin?
Nay.
Fred?
Aye.
And I passes 4-1-0. Thanks, Pat, for your time and explaining in a nutshell. Let's jump to 8B, approving hiring Miles Robb. I'll have Miles Robb stand up a little bit quick. He's going to be our new deputy city administrator. This is Miles Robb. Bob and I and a few others had a second interview with Miles and Renee Weil. It was a tough decision. And we're excited to have Miles aboard. We offered him a job last week. He was hopefully excited and accepted. I think his projected start date is March 5th, give or take a day or two. He might be here on March 4th. He's a little bit of history. He's working in Savage right now, or Shakopee as an administrator intern. Went to UNI school in Iowa. He's ready to go. That's what we like about it. So I just need a motion and a second to approve Miles Robb hiring, and excited to have him on our team.
One other comment, he already has an apartment in town. So.
Does he?
Oh, yep. Wow. So he'll be moving down on the Monday and starting here on Wednesday, unless I can talk him into coming on Tuesday. Told him to come and help him move, but.
So I just wanted to welcome Rob or Miles, and just need a motion in a second.
Second.
Any further discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 5-0-0. Welcome, Miles, and we're ready to have you on the team. Let's jump to 8C, Resolution 2025-07, recognition of donations for the Schroeder Memorial.
Yeah, this is similar to the resolution we did for the pool donations. We had to grab all of the donations that have come in so far. Got them on a resolution to accept them. We'll send a letter of acceptance as well to each one of these people. Early next week, everybody's getting going with their taxes, and we need to get those letters out. So Mike Flaherty just reviewed my draft and gave it the okay. That was for the pool one. I'll use the same format for the Schroeder, and we'll get those letters out starting next week. From here on out, you'll see resolutions more frequently as donations come in. If it's a big donation, it'll be on its own resolution. If there's a bunch of smaller ones, then we'll lump them together just so it's not so many resolutions. But yeah, it's been I think we're pretty close to getting the memorial started. We're already planning for a groundbreaking, and so more to come real soon on that.
Chief, do you know what the total is roughly, ballpark?
Just based on what numbers we had, it was just under 31,000. But there's been some donations that have come in since then that I don't have the total on. And I think we're waiting on one that it was pledged from the community trust yet too. So with that, we're very close.
We're probably at 43,000 now, give or take. But the resolution is only those that we have received. There is a pledge there. Yeah, a bigger pledge, and then some other money that has come in since we did this, so. Probably 44,000 now of the, were we 51 we're looking for?
Around 50,000.
Yeah.
So things have been ordered. And we're going to try to break ground on the 17th of April.
Perfect.
Like you said, when you get small ones in, you can lump them in and not have to name everybody. It just, is it more of a dollar figure or?
Now, if they come in with, and Mike Flaherty can correct me if I'm wrong, but if they come in with a name, I have to put the name and the dollar amount in there because we have to recognize that donation for this specific purpose. The letters I send out have to say that the money is accepted for the specific purpose and it's going to be put into a dedicated account to be used for that purpose when the memorial is built or the pool is built.
When we did, I don't know if you got any phone calls at all, but they got listed in the newspaper, each individual. I didn't know if you could just lump them all together or.
Yep, nope. I mean, we have to recognize each donation is my understanding of the statute. Oh, Mike, go ahead.
I think that's right. The statute doesn't specifically state that, but I think that's implied. But people can always donate anonymously too, if they want. And then if that happens, Brian, you would just list probably, you could lump all the anonymous donations together, or you'd say something like 14 anonymous donations totaling whatever, or you could list them out each one, $200 anonymous, $300 anonymous.
That's what I know. When I had the pool resolution, I had about 2 or 3 anonymous on there.
Perfect. I just
I'll
need
make a motion to approve resolution 2025-07 for the Schroeder Memorial Fund.
Second.
any further discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 5-0-0. Oh, sorry, I got the resolution. Come on, Bob, you got to catch it. Bob?
Aye.
Joan?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
Fred, I want to call him Jeff. I want to call him Jeff. Aye. And I passes 5-0-0. Thanks, Brian. Let's do 8D, new cannabinoid license. Chubby G. Brian.
Yep, Miranda gave me this the other day, and staff is recommending approving the cannabinoid license for Chubby Chic Boutique.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Any further discussion?
What is this?
This is for them to sell THC beverages, gummies.
It's the low potency.
Yeah.
Low potency.
Yep, this does not fall under all the new guidelines yet.
Is there business now in town?
Yeah. Covered Bridge, I believe.
Covered Bridge,
Super
Super
America,
America,
Speedway,
the
whatever
Smoke
that is.
Shop. You might be the fourth one. I don't remember any other ones.
Does Quick Trip or no?
I don't think so.
I think so. No.
And is there a limit to places that we allow to do that?
We don't have a limit on
We don't have a
the
limit.
low
Unlimited.
potency.
It's kind of the same thing. We don't have a limit really on liquor
And
on and off sale either.
And we're not exactly sure where it's gonna go once all the other adult use marijuana and all that stuff, where that goes. This could fall in there somewhere, but for now, in our ordinance, it's a separate deal. We're gonna continue with what we've been doing until we get further direction.
So we got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 5-0-0. Let's jump to 8E, Resolution 2025-12, Zumbrota Golf Course premises gambling permit. which they did it, or just renewing it, correct?
Yeah, so every 2 years, they want to have it renewed. Some personnel changed at the golf course, and so Howie from the, from the VFW was in, because they sponsor it, and asked if we would renew it. Then we'll follow up with the paperwork. He didn't have it quite yet, but we had to get it approved now, and then I'll get the paperwork, because he was still working on signatures on that. But it needs to get going by a certain time in early March. So I'm just asking to renew the resolution. Same resolution, different dates that we passed 2 years ago, 2023.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Any further discussions? All in favor?
Roll call.
Kevin, you're gonna have to come over, Bob.
Hey, I had my finger.
I know
pointing
you
at
did. Bob?
Aye.
Joan?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
Fred? And I passes 5-0-0. Reports, Brian?
Oh, yeah, settle in, because I have a long one. No.
I need a THC drink.
Sanitary district. The sanitary district, we've got a whole bunch of meetings with legislative bonding committee members next week. So that's getting rolling. Yeah, we're hoping they do a bonding bill and we can get some money to keep it moving. So we're working hard at that. The pool committee has been busy with meeting with businesses. We raised just over $533,000, I believe now. We continue the bi-weekly design meetings. The design is taking shape. Bretta and Troy from the committee have been involved in that. Mike, Ann, our pool manager, has joined as she can. And if she can't join, she stops in to talk to me and gives me her ideas along the way. I think we should have bid documents end of April, they were saying. It was 6 to 8 weeks yet because of engineering, but we've got Bretta and Troy here from the pool committee. So if you guys want to say anything.
We've just been kind of slow going, looking for some of the bigger donations to still roll in. As you see, the 530,000 is still well over $1 million short. So it's kind of the update we have is kind of looking for some of the bigger donations. I know we're going to try and target some local businesses, but I think the well is kind of drying up. So we may have to start getting creative as to how we're going to fill that gap between the two. A lot of local businesses want to start doing in-kind donations, donating materials or labor. But until we have that final blueprint and approved things, we're lost right now. We can't even send out for bids locally. So things have kind of stalled a little bit here. So that's we're kind of looking for some input and hopefully some creative stuff that maybe the city can help on a little bit too if things stall out any further. But
Yep, and we have looked at that. Kim and I have looked at that, and we'll have more to share at some point on that as we figure out a bidding and in-kind and where we're at that point. We'll have more on that. But, we need little donations too. Anything. If everybody gets involved, we're going to get there. We need to be at right around $1 million this spring to be comfortable getting the pool going. So we're going to work hard to get to that point one way or another so the pool is rolling. And then we can continue to fundraise over the next year while it's being built.
absolutely.
I think once people see that something's happening, and then we can promote, hey, this is going on, we still need X amount of dollars to get to this next point, or we'd love to put the slide in, we need 30 grand, help us out. Hopefully we get some more traction.
Yep, so they've been working hard. We haven't been out to all the, we sent the letters, we haven't been out to all the businesses yet either. So once we do that, then we will be putting things in the paper about, how much is left and how it could break out and how we could get there. So more to come. They've been doing a great job though. It's not a very big committee. Unfortunately, we were hoping to have more people working on it, but they've been doing a great job. So appreciate all the work that the committee does.
People on the committee that have younger kids that will really take advantage of the pool. All of our kids have gone through the swim lessons and are now lifeguards and whatever ourselves. So everybody had a little.
I don't think there's any young kids up here. Bob, no. Fred, do you have any young grandchildren yet? Anybody gonna have some more? Yeah. No, Fred was pretty close to it all those years in the park board, so.
But I got all these kids and grandchildren, I don't got a lot of extra money put for the pool either,
Yeah.
so you don't want me in the committee.
Yes. That's a good point too. Well, thank you. Thank you for being here. The Bridgeview Apartments, that's the next Keller Barton building over here on the bank lot. I just want to give an update on that. We've submitted the TIF developers agreement to them. We're waiting any comments that they might have on that. We've seen very preliminary site plans. The building had to shift a little bit, and once they get into all the civil engineering and site utilities and things like that. So we've been seeing bits and pieces, but we really don't have anything that we can do a full review on yet. We should have those civil plans and site plans, I'm hoping in the next week or very first week in March, where we can really get going. And from that, we will have a local developers agreement to piggyback on the TIF developers agreement. The local developers agreement will have all the local requirements in it as far as fees and whatever else might go into that, parking numbers, all that stuff. We have heard some concern from across the alley about the potential loss of city parking in the alley. So I've been working hard on that and talking with Andy Bartman and Bob Keller. I just had a meeting with them the other day. And the proposal is to put in 18 angled parking spots back there and curb and gutter in the alley. Depending on how you look at the parking back there now, which is, there's no lines, you don't see the property lines, of course. So people are kind of parking wherever. There's 5 basically that are on city property at any one time. There's another 4 more that have to back up onto bank property or Keller Bartman property to get out of there. So call it 9 spots back there now that are viable. And so there's anywhere, a gain of 9 to 13 parking spaces by doing what's proposed by Keller Bartman. And I verified with them that none of those spots will be designated for apartment parking. They're just going to be open for whoever. Even though the bulk of those spots, probably 10 of them, no, probably 12 of them or 14 of them are on their property. But they said, no, we don't have any intention of designating them. So hopefully that alleviates some of the concern with loss of parking in that alley. I really feel it's going to get better. So transportation alternative grant. This is the trestle. Bill Angerman and I presented to the TA grant committee last Friday on Valentine's Day in Rochester. We stressed the importance of the trestle to not only our citizens, but the region. We get a lot of people at the campground. We get a lot of people coming in town to ride their bikes, use our trails, and the snowmobile club. That's just a vital connection for, I think it's like 386 miles of snowmobile trail. That's the crossing across the river right there, without having them to have to go over the 58 bridge or something like that. There were quite a few good questions. I think there must have been 12 or 13 people listening to the presentation. What went very well. Feeling really good about our chances to get maybe all the money we asked for. We asked for $1.4 million or most of that money. A lot of times if there was at least, I don't know how many they had. They don't tell you how many presentations, but we know there was at least 2 more because one was there at the same time we were, another one came in after us. So it could be possible that they offer us something less or nothing or all of it. So we're just kind of waiting. I check my email frequently to see if we've gotten an email from them. So once we know about that, then we will talk some more with council about next steps. If we get the grant, there's still going to be a lag time. And when the money comes, it's $29. So we'll have a decision to make there on how, if we want to pre-build it, which we can do, but we have to pay for it up front before we get the money. Or if we don't get anything, then we'll talk about possible repair. Will we regroup and look for other grants over the next few years? So more to come on that. Told you it was a long one. That's it.
Brian, I know we're gonna have to look at options down the road. I mean, there was a company that worked on that bridge that got us by for a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, would it be in our best interest to talk to them again? Maybe they got different ideas that, you know, they'll look and say, oh yeah, I think we can do this. I mean, they do the work.
Sure.
You know, they probably got some things that we're not seeing. I mean, I personally would like to get a company that does this for a living to say, hey, take a look at this. What do you think we should do?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Get their total opinion on either repair it, or they'll say, no, from what we've seen, let's build new, you know?
Yeah, I mean, we've been working with our city engineer. WHKS has a very large bridge section, bridge engineers on staff. They spoke with the engineer that shut the bridge down about potential fixes as an option for council to consider. Potential designs for a new bridge. We looked at $2 million. Will it be that? Maybe. We're not 100% sure until we really get into it. And that could involve, just as you say, Fred, looking to, I think it was Icon, Mike, is that who we had talked to or who did before? Yeah. So, yeah. That's all.
It's a high dollar thing. The more input we can get on it and get different options, I think would be a great avenue, especially with.
Yep. The fix has been vetted with the engineer that closed the bridge down, the potential fix. Meaning our city engineer, their bridge people spoke with the engineer that shut the bridge down about, hey, what would you think of a fix if the council were to decide to, let's do a repair, and how many years we can get. And so it's looking like possibly 5 to 10 years. I don't want to put costs out there yet because we're not quite sure, but that potential repair has been discussed with the engineer that closed the bridge down. And so everybody's on the same page on what we could do and what would most likely be okay for a temporary, let's keep it going for 5 to 10 years if we don't get this current grant. Or if we don't, we can always bond for the whole thing.
But like I said, the more options we can get, maybe they see something different than that they see, and being that they've already worked on it once before.
Yeah.
Is that something we can request to do, or is it just?
Absolutely, but let's give it a little bit more time here. Let's see what the TA grant turns out.
But we know even if we get that grant, it ain't gonna happen until
$29, but you can pre-build it. You just have to figure out how to pay for it ahead of time. So we could bond for the dollars. Probably would have to, depending on how much money.
There's another option or two that we could do.
Or there's a way to trade for federal dollars with someone who has current federal dollars. And so there's all kinds of things yet.
Somebody saying, new, I've heard that before. I said, oh, we should do new. And then all of a sudden somebody said, well, I think you could get this to last if we do this for 30 years or whatever. That's why I said, no reason to wait for them guys to get their opinion on it. While we're in this lull area anyway.
Well, I mean, we have a repair in mind if we need it, but we're not quite ready to roll that out yet.
Right, but that's what I'm saying, though, if we get their other people's options too, to look at the whole thing at the same time.
Yeah. Yep, we'll present whatever the council wants us to present. Keep looking at other options, and whatever options you guys want to see, we can put that out there, but let's get a little bit more time to see where we're at with this grant, because that could change your opinion on how we move forward. Anything else? I think that's finally it for me.
Perfect.
Mike, do you want to say anything?
Nothing tonight, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Police chief.
You haven't come through the PD. We're happy with our new transformation. It's definitely a significant difference with the renovations that have taken place. With that said, we did find some problems with our ceiling. I brought it up to Mike and Brian. We're having some sag going on. So we're hoping that we can get that looked at and straightened out. And hopefully it's nothing major, that it can be dealt with well. But other than that, we're, again, very happy. I've had a lot of good comments on the work, and certainly the speed of it was right there. I mean, they did a good job in a short period of time, and so we're very happy with it. So that is all I got.
Yeah, and if I can just talk about the SAG, I forgot all about that. Thanks for bringing that up. There's a 26-foot span in their open area. I believe it's 24-inch trusses, engineered trusses, that shouldn't be sagging, 4 inches in the middle or 6 inches in the middle, especially when there's no snow load. There's no load up there right now. So I don't know why it's doing that, but it's a little scary if we get a big snow. So we've got, again, our city engineer, they do structural as well. They're going to have someone stop out early next week to take a look at it, and then we'll go from there. But yeah, started noticing the ceiling tiles sagging. Actually, they thought they heard a dripping. And so I had Mike and the guys go take a peek above the ceiling, and they're like, whoa, look at this. And yeah, so it's pretty big sag. So anyway, we'll get that checked out, and hopefully it'll be fine as long as it doesn't snow a foot between now and next week. Probably be fine then too, but looks terrible.
Is that it, chief? Thanks, sir. Mike? I have nothing. Bob?
Nothing.
Joan? Kevin?
Nothing.
Fred?
Just a comment on that crossing that you're looking at options and stuff for.
Yeah.
You're gonna bring back options but if I want to know the opinion of like police officers and the street department, what kind of way they lean? Is that something I go do, or is that something that gets brought to us then?
Yeah,
Like-
absolutely. You can go talk to whoever you want to get.
But I would like,
thoughts.
all the street guys' input on what they think would be a great thing to do instead of just coming to me with the price. Not necessarily go with the cheaper because it's cheaper, but what would be more beneficial to us.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think we're all on the same team, and we're after pedestrian safety. Concern was brought up, so we'll look at it from the eye of pedestrian safety first, obviously.
Right. If there is option, it'd be nice to get the public works opinion on all this and.
Sure.
And we had Tony too, when
Yep.
this was brought up to us,
Yep.
sit out there at least one day. I don't think he did two.
Yep.
But he sat out one day. What? Shannon did too? So,
And, this has been brought up, they're over there looking, so then when we get these options, I want to get input from all these guys to not.
Yeah, I mean, you can
Because
talk
they're dealing with it and stuff.
yeah, talk to the street guys, talk to the officers to get their input too.
These options all done and everything.
And it might even be better just to get some of their opinions now, which I have already, just to, when you get those, you can have other information to make them decisions too, so. Perfect. Do you have anything else, Fred? Perfect. Meeting adjourned.